What's going on, beautiful and exotic women of the world? In today's video, I want to discuss transmuting negative energy to level up. If you are an exotical, you are no stranger to facing negativity for absolutely no reason. Negativity is spewed at you on a daily from strangers, from people you know, family, friends. You just receive it at all angles, and it's really something that will never go away as long as there are negative forces in the world. There are going to be negative people trying to bring you down to their level. And what I want to encourage you guys to do is to be an alchemist. Now, if anyone is familiar with the term alchemy, it's literally just to transmute and transform. Being an alchemist is simply about getting what it is that you want out of life by manipulating energy to receive it. And so a common theme in alchemy is transmuting energy. That way, if someone gives you negative, you can transmute it within yourself to become positive so that it serves you instead of depleting or taking from you. I've had to transmute energy my whole life. I grew up in a very narcissistic, abusive household where my mother was jealous of me, and I constantly had to transmute the yelling and the screaming and the torment and the nonstop verbal and emotional and psychological abuse. I had to transmute that to better myself. So I would spend a lot of time alone in my room, in my mirror, imagining the woman who I wanted to be. Every time I would get into it with my mother, I would go into my room, journal, write, and just visualize. Visualizing was my escape. If you've been in abusive situations before, you understand that sometimes your mind goes on autopilot and just takes you to places where you feel safe. And so a lot of times my mental would just go to a place where I envision myself being grown, being self-sufficient, just being a boss and handling business and being confident and beautiful and amazing and far away from my abusers. So that was one of my first forms of transmuting, because visualization is a very strong manifestation tool. And so that was how I alchemized my abusive situation. I would spend a lot of time in my room by myself, and I would visualize ways that I would level up and better myself every single day, and I would take action on it. Even though I was a child, I didn't realize what I was doing, but that's exactly what I was doing. And looking back, that was my only way to stay mentally healthy, or else I would have lost my mind. Now, when it comes to our adult lives, we have to transmute negative energy at the workplace, negative energy with female friendships, and negative energy from complete strangers. What I do is I don't internalize people's attacks anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. When you try to rationalize and understand and even blame yourself for other people attacking you, you are then taking responsibility for somebody else's demons, somebody else's darkness, somebody else's negativity, when it has everything to do with them. So what I do is I always remind myself, this is everything to do with them and nothing to do with me. So let's say, for example, I have a friend and she likes to embarrass me in front of other friends. I've experienced this in high school. I had a girl who was friends with me simply to be a punching bag for. At the time, I didn't know myself. I didn't know how to stand up for myself, and I was friends with her, and I was thinking I was her friend, but I was really just somebody who she could use as a doormat and to make herself look better. So a lot of her abuse tactic was to humiliate me in front of people to make herself feel better. And so what I started to do is I started to bite back. After I got tired of dealing with this type of abuse from people, I realized, let me become my greatest version where I know how to stand up for myself. How can I stand up for myself and protect myself from these people? So like when things would happen to me, I would go within and practice how I would come back at somebody, or practice how I would shut down a situation when it was getting started. And you guys, one day I bit back. One day she had the nerve to go behind my back and follow one of the guys that I was talking to, and I thought it was suspicious and I pressed her about it. Usually I would never check her about something, but this day I grew some balls and I decided I was going to check her on it. And me checking her on that one little thing ended the entire friendship. But the whole friendship, she was allowed to talk to me however she wanted. She was allowed to ask me questions in a very interrogating way, and she would do it in front of other people. But the one time I stand up for myself and say, I'm going to advocate for myself and alchemize the situation so that I'm standing up for myself and showing up for me, it was a problem, and she cut me off just like that. So that just goes to show that once you start giving people what they're giving you, and once you wake up to your power and realize, I don't have to take this, I don't have to be a pushover, I don't have to be a doormat, the game changes for you. After I realized that, I started practicing alchemy in tons of other places in my life. When I got to college, a group of girls had made me their target for very obvious reasons, and they oftentimes would lie about me to other people. They would try to, because they couldn't mess with me and because I didn't want to be in their group, because I realized that they were all fake and they were all hating on each other and it wasn't genuine, they would try to ruin my reputation. So they would go around lying. They would just make up a bunch of lies and rumors about me that would come back to me, and I would hear it and be like, how is this even a thing? Who is saying these things? And then I found out it was them. And so I started my fitness journey because I was just so angry. I had all this pent up energy and anger, and I didn't know how to release it from myself. So what I would do is I started going to the gym and lifting weights. I was super skinny, by the way, in college and in high school. I was very, very thin, straight up and down like a pencil. And then when I started working out, I started gaining weight. I started getting a little curves. And all of a sudden, people were looking at me, but more in like a hating because they see that my body is nice now. And I was really just using all that anger and frustration, all the anger and frustration I was feeling, I was channeling it into building my body, building up my physique. I was channeling that frustration and anger that some may have used to lash out at them, to try to do damage control and save their reputation and go around telling people what the truth is. I wasn't doing any of that. I wanted people to believe what they wanted to believe, and I took that time to perfect my outward appearance. And when you're in the gym and you're working on your body, it also works on your spiritual and your mental. So I was getting healthy in all aspects of my life while these people were trying to bring me down, and I was using their hatred as fuel because I'm like, I'm gonna give you guys something to hate about. Whenever girls would try to bully me or make me feel bad for being myself, I would lean more into my authenticity. So if I knew that me just existing and breathing bothered them, I would be an even bigger, more exaggerated version of myself. Because what you're not going to do is try to use your negativity as a weapon and a tool to make me dim my light and diminish who I am. So if somebody pointed out that I thought I was all that, I would act all that even more. If somebody tried to say that my voice was weird, I would make sure that they heard my voice anywhere I went. I made sure to rub it in because that was the best way I found I could transmute negativity. When someone was busy hyperfixating on me and picking me apart and bullying me for things I couldn't control, like being skinny or talking a certain way or just having interest in certain things that they may not have been interested in, and they tried to make me feel bad for it, I would lean more into it. And this happened as I got older. When I was younger, unfortunately, I used to let it get to me for a lot of different reasons. But as I got older, I realized like I'm just going to be my authentic self 10 times more. I started to work on my self-development and just grow as a person and as an individual every day. And I was just learning every day how to take the lemons and make lemonade, how to take what I was being given that was negative and turn it into something that could benefit me. So another huge aspect of me transmuting negative energy is making this channel. I am loving building out this community, hearing your guys' stories, hearing what you guys have gone through, knowing that I'm not alone, knowing that there are other women who have experienced pain and bullying and abuse and just harassment on all different levels really has been healing for me. And just building out this community has allowed me to transmute a lot of the negativity that I've dealt with in the past, that I'm dealing with now. It's all very healing. And that's the beauty in transmuting negative energy, is you're changing and manipulating the energy that's being thrown at you to ultimately better yourself, heal yourself, and make you better and grow. And that's why I love alchemy, because it really is being like a magician. You're taking a fireball and turning it into a cotton ball. Like you're making it what you want it to be, not what other people are hoping it will be in your life. And that's the dangerous thing about negative energy, is that people are hoping that they will continue to spew these things onto you and it will get to you. It will affect you and it'll keep you down. But I would encourage you guys heavily to always look at people's negativity, at people's abuse, at people's harassment, at people's just weirdo energy as an opportunity to Pour into yourself and better yourself. I promise you, if people are taking the time out of their precious day to tear you down, make you feel less than, you are very important. You are more important than you think. And I'm speaking to my younger self. I'm speaking to my inner child right now because I needed to hear this. Unfortunately, I had a narcissistic mother who wasn't telling me these things. So I was walking around thinking I was the problem and hating myself and going through mental torture because I couldn't understand why these people hated me. But I realize now people hated me because they hated themselves. And me and my light disturb their demons and their darkness, and that has nothing to do with me and everything to do with them. I feel like I say that all the time on this channel, but I really do believe that. So ladies, fire off in the comments as you always do. Let me know what you think about this topic. I'd love to start a discussion in our comment section. Also, send me any stories you may have to the email in my description box, and I will come back on here for another juicy girl talk very soon. Have a lovely day.